He was once among the most feared bounty hunters in the galaxy, a veteran of the Mandalorian Civil Wars, and mentor of the infamous Cad Bane. He would go on to serve as the genetic template for the Grand Army of the Republic, from which his son Boba would be created. Today on The Nerd Strike Back, we cover the life and travels of Jango Fett. According to his own account, Jango Fett was born in 66 BBY on the shattered planet of Concord Dawn, a planet with 3 moons located within the Mandalore sector, situated in the Outer Rim. Fett would be brought into the Mandalorian culture as a foundling, similar to Din Djarin decades later. He would be trained by someone whose name contained the word Jaste. As the name is partially obscured when we see it, many hope this is confirmation that Jango was trained by Jaster Mariel, as he was in Legends. Fett would fight in the Mandalorian Civil Wars, during which he obtains his signature Mandalorian armor. The conflict hones Fett's skills greatly, eventually leading him to becoming a bounty hunter. During his career, Fett partners with the likes of Zam Wesell, Aura Singh, Hondo Ohnaka, and Cad Bane. However, Fett primarily partnered with Zam for much of his known history. Beginning their work together, the duo travels to Snugano, not quite a planet, but a terrestrial astronomical object, where the two first exploit Wessell's shape-shifting abilities as a Clawdite in order to transform into a creature. Her abilities would be put to use many times through the course of the two's partnership, playing a vital role in their strategies. Around the year 32 BBY, the pair traveled to Uvo 4, a moon that served as a high-profile prison within the Outer Rim. During the heist, Fett steals one of the patrolling fire spray ships, giving it the name Slave One. Through his feats, Fett earns his reputation as the best in the business, becoming more and more selective in his jobs. His growing notoriety draws the attention of higher bidders. Among them are the Sith. Fett is soon contacted by Darth Tyrannus, more popularly known as Count Dooku. Dooku contacts Fett, asking for a meeting at the moons of Bogdan in the Outer Rim. Dooku offers the bounty hunter his fee of 20 million credits, in exchange for his genetic template to use for a clone army created on the planet Kamino. Fett, however, presents an additional term to this agreement, requesting one unaltered template of himself. The cloning process used by the Kaminoans uses age acceleration, but Fett wanted a son of his own, free from this genetic manipulation. With all of his terms met, Jango travels to Kamino, a planet situated in the Abrion system. Later wiped from the Jedi archives by Dooku, Jango travels to the primary cloning facility on the planet, situated within Tipoca City. While the clones would grow at an exponentially quicker rate, they were physically identical in appearance, preserving Fett's legacy for decades to come. Being much more concerned with the development of his son Boba, Jango would take him on many of his missions for training. On one outing, Jango takes Boba on a group mission. They rendezvous on Telarath with Nilda, Rin, and Tiver, Arodian, Gand, and Chadrafan, respectively. They would be responsible for retrieving a Twi'lek, who had run away from her home with her partner, Griff. The bounty hunters travel to Ord Mantell, a planet within the Mid-Rim that houses a large Black Sun Syndicate presence. The group quickly tracked the two down, stunning the Twi'lek and taking her back to the ship. Upon returning to their ship, Rin and Tiver turned on the Fetts, taking Boba hostage. However, Boba had hidden a blaster on his person before departing the ship earlier, and kills the two treacherous hunters. Sparing Nilda, but taking his share of the bounty, Jango and Boba depart Ord Mantell, Jango being pleased with his son's prowess at such a young age. Later, Jango continues his partnership with Zam Wesell. The two head to Phytoon, another terrestrial astronomical object, in order to capture Sinvat Bovik, who owed a debt to the intergalactic banking clan. Landing in a valley near Bovik's home, the duo infiltrates the structure, disposing of guards and an imposter in the process. They eventually track the real Bovik, who had tried to escape via speeder. Zam stuns him, giving the two bounty hunters another successful mission. Throughout the years and in between missions, Jango and Boba would remain in Tipoca City on Kamino. The Kaminoans knew of Fett's reputation as the galaxy's deadliest bounty hunter, but allowed him to remain on the planet to oversee the development of the clone troopers. Jango openly views the clones as nothing more than cannon fodder, admittedly skilled, but paling in comparison to he and Boba. He would find no pride nor remorse in their creation. They would be entirely disposable to him, despite being replications of him like Boba. Kamino would serve as Jango's base, allowing for some semblance of a home. Boba loved to work with his father, and found himself longing to accompany him as much as he could. In 22 BBY, Jango enlists Zam's help once again on a mission to assassinate Senator Padmé Amidala. The two make their way to Coruscant, the capital of the Republic. Zam fails in her initial attempt when Padmé arrives planetside, instead killing her decoy. The two then attempt to deploy Kuhans into Padmé's quarters to kill her in her sleep. This is thwarted by Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. In the chaos that follows, Zam is compromised by the two Jedi, and before she can expose Jango, he shoots a Kaminoan saber dart into Zam, ending her life and their partnership. Jango returns to Kamino in order to lay low, realizing that the Jedi would be investigating the series of events. Soon enough, Kenobi arrives on the planet, discovering the clone army being built for the Republic and supposedly commissioned by the late Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas. Jango and Kenobi meet in tense circumstances within Fett's quarters in Tipoca City. Fett assures Kenobi he knows little of the true intentions behind the army, revealing only that a man named Tyrannus hired him to stand in as the template. Kenobi, however, notices Jango's Mandalorian armor in his closet, recognizing it to be similar to that of the mysterious killer on Coruscant. As Kenobi is escorted out of his quarters, Jango tells Boba to pack his things, and that they're leaving. On the landing platform outside, the Fetts are ambushed by Kenobi. After a brief struggle, Kenobi is stalled long enough for the Fetts to escape in Slave One, as Boba flies them off-world. In a last-ditch effort, Kenobi throws a homing beacon onto the ship, so that he may follow the duo into space. Approaching Geonosis, Jango and Boba meet Kenobi yet again in the asteroid field above the planet. After a chase through the field, deploying seismic charges and performing evasive maneuvers, Jango is able to lock on to Kenobi's starfighter with a homing missile. The explosion leaves Fett feeling content that Kenobi was finally destroyed. Shortly after this encounter, Kenobi is captured on the planet by Separatist forces. This causes Anakin and Padmé to travel to the planet, attempting to rescue their friend. Jango, along with battle droids, intercept the two within the primary droid factory on the planet and capture them. They, along with Kenobi, are placed within the Geonosian arena. Beasts are let out in order to give the Geonosians and the Separatist leaders a grand show. However, the festivities are soon interrupted by Mace Windu. He and Yoda lead the new clone army to rescue the Jedi and Senator. Jango defends Dooku from Windu and a handful of other Jedi, joining the battle himself. He descends into the arena, drawing his dual blaster pistols on Windu. However, he is thwarted by a reek, which disables his jetpack. Unable to fly in battle, Fett attempts to blast Windu as he charges forward. The Jedi deflects each of Fett's blaster bolts, before destroying his blaster and decapitating him. The deadliest bounty hunter the galaxy had ever seen lies dead in the Geonosian arena, passing on his legacy and his armor to his son, Boba Fett. If you want to support the channel, visit our Patreon page, where you can also unlock exclusive perks. And let us know in the comments what characters and topics you'd like to see us cover on The Nerd Strike Back.